Hi, welcome to Veronica Live. This is Veronica, and I'm in Florida. And joining me today is my regular co-host Tracy out in Colorado. Welcome, Tracy.
Hi, how are you?
Great, great. I know today we wanted to discuss the worst shooting in U.S. history out in Las Vegas. I know Sunday that happened at the Mandalay Bay, and I woke up Monday morning just shocked. I just couldn't believe that somebody could be so horrible and want to hurt innocent people trying to have a good time.
I know it's absolutely a horrendous act of evil. I don't know what else you can call it.
Well, just to put the whole thing in perspective, Mandalay Bay is one of the most gorgeous hotels out in Las Vegas. I know when I lived out there, I used to eat there all the time. It was great. And so he was staying in the hotel. He checked in and he brought just all kinds of weapons to the hotel, and Sunday night decided to target this country concert that had been going on for several days and had 22,000 people there. And he knocked out the windows of the 32nd floor, two windows in his hotel room, and then just started shooting people, I think for about 11 minutes.
Yeah, it was something like that. I just don't see how he got all of those weapons in there. I mean, there was what, 30, 40 weapons or so?
A
No,
lot.
I mean, it was a large number, whatever the number actually was. It's just I don't understand how he possibly got all of that in there
But
without even one of the maids seeing it.
you've lived in Vegas, and
Yes,
I live
yes,
there, and hotels are massive. Like, for example, this hotel, the Mandalay Bay, has 3,300 rooms, and people are always traveling for business as well as pleasure. And a lot of times business people bring, computers and equipment to set up. So probably nobody thought anything about it because it was just someone coming for business that had, lots of bags. Plus he was there multiple days, so he could have brought in 2 bags today, 3 tomorrow, and nobody would even think,
wow.
that it
It's
was.
it's amazing though because the amount of security cameras that they have in those casinos at the very least. I don't know about the hotels, but you can't even count your cards without them
Right,
catching you.
right.
So
No,
it's amazing
I
to me that they wouldn't notice something.
right. Well, I think the security in all the hotels is normally it's world class, but again, this was an attack that nobody has ever done before, and all the
True.
experts had said, from an elevated position, that's where you want to be. The concert was actually a quarter mile away, which
I know, which makes it even more amazing that he was able to shoot like that. Because by all accounts, he wasn't really a gun enthusiast as far
no,
as like going out and target practice.
he was a retired accountant who'd also worked for the IRS. He was a millionaire. He'd made millions in real estate. And then again, he has no fingerprint in society. He doesn't have a Facebook. They don't see any political connections. He had his girlfriend that he had bought her ticket to go to the Philippines, and then I guess he wired her $100,000. So she thought he was
Breaking
potentially
up with her.
right.
Hmm.
It was a breakup. So what caused him to crack is my question.
Well, and
And
then ISIS keeps trying to claim it, and they're
yes,
very adamant. But
yes.
nothing has been released to indicate that they're correct or that that's got any validity.
Well,
So
in my research, it said that he had taken 20 cruises in Europe and in the Middle East. So, maybe something in that direction will pop up. But he really hadn't had a close relationship with his brother. His brother was shocked when they interviewed him. There. What causes somebody to do this?
well, and it's interesting too because supposedly the brother has a criminal record, some felonies and some other things. The father, of course, was on the most wanted list for a time. So there is a certain amount of
DNA?
family history there, but not, I don't believe, violent crime.
Right, right. Because he has no record himself, and
Right,
and he had a
nothing.
couple airplanes. I mean, he was living the dream retirement. Gambling, relaxing in Vegas, quiet lifestyle. Had the girlfriend. The whole thing is just baffling, I think, to everyone.
It is. It is. No, and no religious beliefs that anyone knows either. So that may not even be a motivator either.
Yeah. I'm just curious to see what's going to happen. Some interesting things have occurred. I know the morning of the incident, I had CNN on because they always have really, I don't care for CNN, but when there's this kind of reporting where you want to be on scene, they're very good at having the reporters there. And they had interviewed someone at the concert, and what I thought was really interesting was his quote was that he had been an agnostic before the concert, but after the concert and the situation, now he believed in God. So I have to say that quote just brought chills up my spine because it was extremely powerful. So that was one thing that was good that happened out of it. And then all the, they said so many people helping each other, and then cabs that, were trying to get people to the hospital, and everybody was trying to help each other.
There was a former Marine who stole a truck and was taking people to the hospital. Mm-hmm. Just everybody pitching in together is, always an amazing thing. The police and their response was amazing as well, and all the first responders.
Well, they're saying too that he had looked at other venues. In August, there was another kind of concert that was at another location. He looked at a hotel, potentially do something there, and then also it was mentioned he looked at Chicago to do one of those
Lollapalooza.
Yes. So, and it was mentioned that potentially he wanted to escape this event. Were some of the indicators they were saying in the room. And I know one of the stories said that potentially he accidentally killed himself, or did he really kill himself like the authorities are saying, which seems like such a cop-out. Why these mass killers always kill themselves, I just...
But I also don't see how they could possibly think they would be able to escape that.
Yeah. Well,
it's not like, he got in with all those guns, but I'm not so sure that after everything he did, walking out would be possible.
Yeah, an easy thing to do. And he had set up cameras at the door so he could see who was coming down the hallway. I mean, they're saying that
that's just absolutely spine-chilling.
Well, the detail for a non-military person, this was set up with military precision, this whole assassination that he did to all these people.
Mm-hmm. So absolutely.
I just hope we're able to find out more details, that it's not going to remain a mystery on why somebody would do this and hurt people. It's just amazing that somebody would, who doesn't believe in life and would want to take out so many people, because there's, 58 people died and there's over 500 wounded, and there's still 12 that are critical in the hospitals.
So we may not be done with the deaths yet, which is a terrible, terrible thing.
On a nice note, President Trump and the First Lady flew in to Vegas and met with the first responders and the victims. And I'm sure you saw that story of Thomas Gunderson. He was shot in the leg, and he actually said that he had to stand up because he wanted to show respect to his country, to the flag, and to the president. And so he actually stood up against doctor's orders when President Trump came in the room. He said, "I'll stand to show the president my respect." So,
and if you've seen the film too, Melania walks in first, and he's already trying to get out of bed to stand for her. She's kind of like looking at him like, "No, don't do that." So yeah, that was a very patriotic and interesting story.
Yes. Well, and then of course, President Trump made statements too that he urged Americans not to be defined by the evil that threatens us or the violence that incites such terror. We're here to defend, and by our love and our caring and courage, for others. So definitely a dark moment, but he was there. And what frustrates me, and I know it frustrates you, is as soon as this happens, then the first thing, everybody gets on the anti-gun movement. And of course, our darling Hillary had to tweet that our grief isn't enough. She said, our grief isn't enough. We can and must put politics aside, stand up to the NRA, and work together to try and stop this from happening again. I mean, that was like immediate that she sends this tweet. So
and it becomes about that instead of supporting the people that have been impacted, and that subject later.
Yeah. Well, and just so our listeners know, there are 300 million weapons that people own in our country, and they say 25% of Americans, are the ones that own these. I know I have my gun, And as long as you have it secure, you have the training, you use it when you need to use it. I want to be a gun owner. So to me,
and we're gun owners as well, and ours are locked up and put away where no one can access them until we need to.
Right. And again, this was one crazy individual that obviously had something not right in his mind, and it has nothing to do with the guns in my house.
No. Nor mine or anyone else's. And, they're reviewing that bump stock that he used. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's a prudent measure at this point. But,
right.
But politicizing it immediately,
no,
I find sad.
Well, it's not nice. And then we had the worst one. The worst was that CBS executive that posted that she had no sympathy for the Las Vegas shooting victims because they're country music fans who are often Republican gun toters. Now, I have to say, CBS handled it swiftly and they fired her. But who, I don't care if you have a personal or a public account, Twitter, who would ever write something like that?
I don't understand how anybody can celebrate, anything to do with a mass killing.
No,
no matter who it is. It just shows that some people's politics are their religion.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, it's hateful to say things like that.
The stories, of the victims or the people that were shot and then killed. Like one girl was there celebrating her 21st birthday. There was a husband who lost his wife. They were there celebrating their 32nd anniversary. These were people that just were trying to enjoy life. That were trying to enjoy Vegas because Vegas is the playground for adults, and having a fun experience. They weren't expected to be a target for some psycho. And to say comments like that woman did, I'm glad she's fired. And I know now, she's under duress because, people are sending her threats, which, I don't want death threats, but what she said definitely was not proper.
I don't understand how somebody can say something like that and not think they're going to face some sort of backlash. And just like you just said, I wouldn't condone any death threats or anything like that either.
No.
And I am glad that CBS handled it. But how can you say something like that and not think you're going to get a reaction?
Right. Well,
and then, of course, Jimmy Kimmel said all kinds of things as well.
He's been exhausting lately. I wish he would just get his, comedic hat back on and stay out of the political arena.
Yes. I've also seen some comments about if you're a Republican gun owner, you should have your children taken away from you.
Oh, God.
Like, what?
Well, oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's just extreme. And again, these were people enjoying an event. I will say the NRA has said some strong things. I mean, they mentioned in their statement that because the Obama administration, I guess, had allowed the bump thing, and
it was reviewed twice under the Obama administration. The ATF reviewed it, I believe.
And the NRA at that point had asked the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco and Firearms and Explosives to, take a closer look to make sure that bump thing, people were remaining in federal law. Because I guess once you put it on your gun, then you're not. It's not okay. So that's why I don't understand how they're selling these things if it's illegal to use it. And apparently this week, one manufacturer of them has already sold out because people are so worried that they're going to lose access.
Not going to be able to get them. Mm-hmm.
So I think we need more definition of what's legal, what's illegal. If it is an illegal thing, then why are we selling it? Because, I want to be legal, but I also want to have my guns if I want them. And I know the NRA, there's 5 million members. I'm an NRA member. They're strong. And in their closing statement with all of this week, they urge Congress to pass the national right to carry,